We all know that feeling when we're deep in concentration, lost in our mind palaces, and some absolute sod dares to talk to us and completely breaks our flow. The natural response is to try to minimize those kinds of interruptions, but that would be solving the wrong problem. Hi, I'm Jason Gorman. I train and mentor software developers. The idea of deep work or flow is pervasive in software development. The received wisdom is that programming requires a Zen-like state of concentration where the problem is completely contained in our heads and we're not thinking about anything else. This state takes time to achieve, a bit like how a computer program takes time to load into main memory. Anything that stops the program, that breaks our state of concentration, forces us to load it all over again, which loses us time. Typical estimates put it at 20 to 30 minutes to get back into that state of flow. It's understandable, therefore, that developers seek to minimize interruptions to maximize deep work or flow. But this is to fundamentally misunderstand what software development is. To the layperson or the inexperienced, software development is coding, and we maximize the value created by maximizing the code. But one line of code can literally be worth millions of times more than another. We maximize the value of what we create not by maximizing code, but by maximizing the value of code. And how do we maximize the value of the code that we write? By hiding in our cubicles, sticking on our headphones and putting up a big sign that says "Do not disturb"? Or do we maximize the value of our code by talking to people, talking to customers, talking to users, talking to the ops team, talking to each other? When we set out to minimize interruptions, we risk minimizing the communication that helps steer us towards greater value. And then there's the other purpose of interruptions, which is to keep us all in sync, to keep us on the same page. In software development, having everyone on the same page is very important, because when programmers aren't on the same page, a whole bunch of stuff can get broken. Worse than the dev who interrupts us in our flow is the dev who merges 1,001 changes that weren't discussed with anybody else. Far from making the team more productive, they can end up costing us more time than the so-called interruptions that could have kept us all in sync. When it comes to maximizing value and avoiding train wrecks, communication is key. So we should seek to maximize that. But how can we achieve a state of flow and be continuously communicating? Think back to my analogy of loading a computer program into main memory. If the program takes up 10 gigabytes of memory, it could take quite some time to load. So stopping the program every 5 minutes would indeed be a major headache. But if that program only took up 10 megabytes of memory, then reloading it on today's machines wouldn't take much time at all. When it comes to achieving a state of flow, a big factor is cognitive load. How much do we need to fit in our heads at one time? Developers who work in short feedback cycles, they code a bit, test it, code a bit more, test it, often find that interruptions aren't much of a problem. They're not doing the high wire act that many developers are doing when they make a whole bunch of changes before seeing the code work again. By dramatically reducing cognitive load as they work, they're able to communicate much more frequently and stay much more closely in sync with the rest of the team.